Hello, hi. Welcome back to our Kubernetes series. In the previous video, we have seen the Kubernetes architecture. In today's video, we are going to see the Kubernetes control plane components. We will be covering what exactly is control plane and the four major components within the control plane. One was API server, scheduler, controller manager, and etcd, and how the control plane components work together. A complete flow diagram with a clear cut understanding of each and every component. By the end of this particular video, we will have a clear overview on the control plane components and how they work together also. So without further ado, let's enter into the video. And one thing was here, the Kubernetes architecture, I have explained all the components on an high level. Now we are in this particular video, we are focusing on this control plane. Whatever the highlighted part here, it is this particular part we are going to focus in this particular video. So let's enter. First of all, what is control plane? Basically, control plane, it is like a brain of the Kubernetes where the actual decisions is made, and it is going to manage overall system or overall work. Here, it manages the entire cluster state. It always knows what's running and what should be running desired state. And also it makes key decision also like scheduling, scaling up, self-healing the broken containers automatically. And also it ensures the desired state also. Let's say if three replications are needed and one dies, automatically it creates the new one instantly. So this capability or this desired state is maintained by the control plane. Okay, so on an high level or a non-technical analogy, you can think of it like a head office that runs the entire company. So workers just follow the instructions which receives from the office. Okay, so here is the control plane architecture. In that, the components and that communicate control plane communicate to the worker node where actual jobs or actual containers are running. Okay, now let us see what exactly the control plane all four components. Okay, one thing was API server. We can also say kube-apiserver. Okay, so it is like a front door where each and every request from the Kubernetes receives, and also from the UI or any of the tools that enters first here through the API server, and this is going to validate and process the request and routes everything accordingly. And then the second one was scheduler. We can also call it as kube scheduler. So it is the key decision maker where basically it is going to watch for new ports with no nodes which was assigned, then it is going to pick the best node based upon the resource as well as the rules configured. And the third component was controller manager. We can also call it as kube controller manager. So it is like a maintainer where it runs many controllers in single process. So it constantly watches the cluster state and fixes from different. It is going to fixes if any there is a discrepancy in the state maintenance or desired state is always maintained that achieved by the controller manager. And etcd, we can also like call it as the key value database storage. It is like a memory where it is going to store all the cluster data that includes the configuration details, state, secrets. So each and every change is saved in the etcd. So if the etcd is healthy, then obviously we can uh, recover that particular cluster. Okay, so here on the bottom line, you can see a single point analogy what exactly that component refers to. API server, it is the entry point for all the requests. Scheduler, it is going to assign the pods to the best available nodes. And then the controller manager, it is going to fix and detect the drifts, configurations and all. And then etcd is basically source of truth, basically the database or configuration, secrets, everything. Okay. Here, the one key important rule was all components will communicate exclusively through the API server. API server is the, as I said, it is the front door, and there is no direct component to component cells. So through the API server only, it should communicate. Otherwise, there is no point of communication. Now let's deep dive into one by one component. First thing was API server. As I said, this is the entry point. So here, API server, I mean, it is like a central communication hub where each and every single request within the Kubernetes goes through here only. Okay, so each and every entry, exit, everything is maintained by the API server. And then it also receives the all request from kubectl, like uh, command line interface, from the UI dashboard, from the CI/CD pipeline and other components or tools also. Okay, and then it is going to validate and authenticate. Basically, it is going to check who are you. That means who exactly the request, where exactly it was received from. Okay, is that particular user is authenticated? Okay, is that user is authorized person? Okay, and then only it is going to allow to perform that activity. Okay, and then it also maintains, I mean, it also read and write to the etcd. That means after the validation was done, I mean, request was validated, then it stores and retrieves the cluster state to the etcd database. Okay, etcd, as I said, it is like a memory for the cluster, and it exposes the REST API. So it uses the HTTPS. So any tool can talk to it in a secure manner, HTTPS. Okay, here is the how the flow, whatever I just explained here in the points. That is the architectural diagrammatic representation in the right hand side, API server gateway, where kubectl or dashboard or CI/CD pipeline, what we can say, arguments or commands, whatever it is, all the requests are processed through the API server, and it is going to validate, authenticate, and route the um, associated work or associated task that need to be done by the etcd scheduler and controller. Okay, now we just have seen the API server. Now the second component was scheduler. Basically, as I said, scheduler was the decision maker. So what exactly it includes or covers by the scheduler was, first thing, it is going to watch for the unscheduled pods. As soon as the new pod is created, the scheduler will see that particular pod, and it is going to check the resource availability, especially the CPU usage, memory usage, and storage consumption. It is going to scan each and every node for the resource checking purpose. And then also it respects the containers and the rules. So if there is a certain rules configurations with respect to the node selectors, affinity rules, taints and tolerance. Okay, these are basically rules. Okay, so these are properly maintained by the scheduler. Okay, and it also assigns a pods to the best node. So it is going to tell the API server the decision, and then which is updated into the etcd memory database. Okay, so accordingly it should perform the task. So that is the actual task of the scheduler. Here a key important note point was the scheduler only decides where to run, and then kubelet was the one on the worker node actually runs it. Okay, so at the end, kubelet was the one who communicates to the worker node and actually runs the job. Okay, and scheduler is basically a decision making server or decision maker, we can say. Okay, so whatever the points I have discussed just now, that represented in the diagrammatic flow. First thing, the scheduler flow starts from whenever the new pod is created. So it is going to monitor that and checks the resource availability. Okay, I mean, that particular thing comes to the obviously API server, and then that checks the each and every what we can say nodes availability, CPU, memory, and the roles specified. As I said, it is going to respect the like containers and roles. Okay, and sorry, constraints in the sense specifications or requirements. Okay, and then it picks the best node, and then the finally, let's say if we have your two workers, then it choose which is going to fit for this particular pod. Okay, and then that work is going to done in that particular worker node. I mean, that is going to assign to that particular worker node. So this is the how exactly the scheduler workflow will be. Okay. Now let us see the third component, which is controller manager. So as I said, the controller manager is the maintainer. Okay. So maintainer, what it does, these are the capabilities of the maintainer. First thing was it runs a containers, sorry, it runs a continuous loop. So forever it is going to check the actual state is equal to the desired state or not. Okay, if it is, let's say if the desired state is maintaining a three pods, but there is only two pods is running, so it notifies immediately and it detects and gets to the actual desired state. So that is the uh, like duty of the controller manager. And also one thing was it automatically fixes the issues. That means it creates a new pods to replace the failed ones automatically. And one more like task by the for the controller manager was multiple controllers inside of one. Okay, so within the controller manager, there are multiple controllers like node controller, replication controller, job controller. So everything is maintained and managed by the controller manager itself. Okay, so entry point, endpoint controller is there, node controller, replication, job controller, all this. Okay, so whatever the things I just discussed, that was represented in a diagrammatic way in the right hand side. So the replication loop, where if let's say from the etcd, we received a desired state as 3 pods. So that should be running. Okay. So it compared to the actual existing cluster. If only 2 pods is running, then obviously that particular drift is detected, and the controller manager will act accordingly to create one more pod and restores the desired state. And as a final results, the expected 3 pods are running and state was restored. So this loop was created, I mean, this loop was repeated and managed by the controller manager. And this is the what exactly the controller manager does in the backend and how it works. Now, the final component was etcd. As I said, etcd is the data store or memory where these are the scope of work by the etcd. First thing was it stores the all cluster information, not only the control plane or worker node, everything. So each and every object configuration state lives here through the key value pair storage. Okay, basically key and then value. Okay, so that stores here in this particular way, key and value. Okay, and then it stores the key value based configurations like simple concepts. In a key is equals to pod and associated name. Value is equal to all pod details in the JSON format. And also it stores the secrets and configuration details. I mean, Kubernetes secrets, config maps, role-based access control rules. Everything is stored securely within the etcd memory, and it is the only API server which reads as well as writes also. So no other component touches the etcd directly. Only the API server is the point of contact here. Okay, and the final thing was it is a distributed as well as consistent. That means it uses a raft and consistency algorithm to stay reliable. That means it maintains a reliability across the cluster. That is the thing. And one critical point here was if let's say etcd is lost, etcd data, everything is lost, and there is no backup is available. So entire cluster state and configuration, everything is gone. We cannot restore the cluster or a node or control plane, whatever it was. Okay, everything is gone only. Okay, so that is why etcd is very much important, and have a backup of that also. It is also best practice. So this is the whatever the point I have just discussed in a diagrammatic representation way, how exactly the key value pair was stored within the etcd. What it stores was key value pair, and then the part, basically the configurations details and the secrets. Okay, and then the node resources basically. Okay, and as I said, API server is the only reads as well as writes this particular etcd database. Okay, and that no other components have a direct access to the etcd. Okay, and moving further, how exactly together going to work? Okay, we just have seen the 4 components all separately. Now let us see how these components works together. First thing was user, as we discussed in earlier example also. User runs a command kubectl apply -f, whatever the deployment YAML or app.yaml, whatever. Okay, then it is basically a request that is sent to a cluster. Let's say the user wants 3 Nginx pods. So here, once the user sends a request, API server is going to validate and store it in the etcd database. Basically, it is going to authenticate and saves the deployment. What is the intent that is stored in the etcd database? Once API server validated the request, then the etcd persist the desired state. That means state is saved. The desired state is equal to 3 replications of Nginx or whatever the image name is there, Nginx latest or whatever the tag. Okay, and then it is going to come to the scheduler, where scheduler assigns the pods to the best nodes. So here it picks the nodes with enough CPU memory, and that particular pod is assigned to the available best available nodes. Okay, and finally, the controller manager, where it keeps the system in a track or monitors continuously. Let's say if the pod dies, then automatically it should uh, recreate it, and always it should maintain a desired state. That is the obviously the responsibility of the controller manager. Okay, and this is the how exactly the flow of all four components works together within the control plane. kubectl, the request comes to the API server, then it goes to the etcd. I mean the desired state is stored here, and then the scheduler where it looks for the newly created pods, and it looks the available nodes. For the best available node, it looks based upon the resource availability. Once it picks the best, and then it assigns that particular pod to that particular node, and then the finally once the deployment was done, the controller manager it maintains the health check, and always the desired state is maintained, and finally this particular work is then run in the actual worker node. Okay, and this entire state report is goes back to the controller manager through the API server. Okay, so this is how exactly the all four components talk together in the control plane and workflow should be. Okay, so these are the things we just discussed. First thing was the API server, which is a communication gateway. Scheduler, it is a decision maker. Controller, it is the uh, drift detection or health maintainer. Okay, and etcd is the cluster memory or database. Okay, so here one final point about the control plane was control plane is like a brain, as I said, and it never runs your application, it just manages each and everything perfectly. So that is the actual job of the controller manager, control plane basically. And yeah, these are the things we have learned: API server, scheduler, controller manager, etcd. In the upcoming video we are going to deep dive into the worker node components, how we have seen these control plane components. Likewise, we are going to see the worker node components, the kubelet, kube proxy, container runtime, and pods in the upcoming video. I hope so you got certain insights out of this particular video and discussion. And all the best for your learning. Stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching.